Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Selamat datang ke Makmal Metrology. Saya Muhammad Irsyam bin Zainal Abidin, penolong jentera JA29, person in charge untuk sesi amali Makmal Metrology.
Hi, I'm Bob Welds, and this is how to read a metric vernier caliper. There are different kinds of vernier scales designed to do different jobs, but they all work pretty much the same way. Today, we're going to look at a metric vernier designed to measure to the nearest 1/50th of a millimeter. That is 0.02 millimeters. See how 1 divided by 50 equals 0.02? Now, the first thing we're going to measure with our vernier caliper is nothing. That's right, we'll measure 0. It may sound like a silly thing to do, but we're going to do it for a couple of reasons. Let's do it and you'll see what I mean. You see, when the calipers are fully closed, measuring 0 width, you can see the places where you can take measurements. These surfaces are where the two parts of the calipers line up. You'll also notice that there are gaps in a couple of places on the calipers. These are not places to take measurements, so don't mess up by putting something in one of those gaps. Now, with the calipers closed, you can see where you're supposed to read the main scale. There are two scales on a vernier caliper, the main scale and the vernier scale. I'm going to erase the vernier scale and let you just look at the main scale first. You see, the 0 mark points to the place where you're supposed to read the main scale. Right now, it points to 0. Do you see that? Good. Let's read the main scale first. It's super easy. I'll close the calipers on this workpiece and we'll see what the main scale says. These marks represent whole millimeters. So the reading is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters. Just be sure to look at the 0 mark and not at this part. That's a common mistake and it'll give you the wrong reading. So the reading is 5 millimeters. That's pretty easy, right? Before we move on to the vernier scale, let me show you what it's going to tell us, okay? Let's say when we looked at the main scale, the reading wasn't right on the mark like it was last time. Let's say it looked like this. See how the mark is between 5 and 6 millimeters? It looks like it's a little beyond halfway. You see, the vernier scale is going to tell us almost exactly how far over the mark is. Okay, you're ready to see the vernier scale, but I'm only going to draw the main part of it first. Now, you see the marks number from 0 to 10. Each of these marks represents a tenth of a millimeter. They're going to tell us the tenths of a millimeter, and here's how they work. Look carefully, and you will notice that one of the marks on the vernier scale lines up better with the main scale marks than the others. Which one looks like it lines up best to you? I'll zoom in and let you look. Let me show you a hint about where to look on the vernier scale to see where the marks line up. You see how our pointer was a little more than halfway between marks? That means the vernier scale will line up a little past halfway. Now, do you see the mark that lines up better than the rest? It looks like the 7 is lining up. The 7 means 0.7 millimeters. But this caliper can measure even more accurately than that. I'll redraw all the marks and let you look again. Now, see that the mark next to the 7 lines up best. But what is the value of that mark? Remember how this caliper had a label that said 0.02 on it? That is what each mark is, 0.02 millimeters. Let's count up on the vernier scale to be sure we've got it. This 6 would be 0.60, the next mark 0.62, then 0.64, 0.66, 0.68, 0.70, then 0.72. The reading is 5.72 millimeters. Pretty neat, huh? I'm going to let you try a few. We're going to start off easy. I'm going to draw a caliper that only reads to the nearest tenth of a millimeter, just to be sure you're with me. I'm going to show you the overall picture first, then zoom in to let you see the vernier better. Okay? When you see Sparky's pause the video and write down what you think the reading is. The reading is 16.2 millimeters. Let me step you through it just in case you missed something. Here are the whole millimeters from the main scale. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And You see how the reading is just past the 16 mark? So we'll look to the front of the vernier scale for where the marks line up. And there it is, at the 0.2 mark. So the reading is 16.2 millimeters. Got it? Okay, let's go for broke and see if we can read the full 0.02 millimeter resolution. Ready for this one? Again, I'll show the whole caliper, then zoom in to let you see the vernier better. Here we go. Pause the video and write down your answer. Now, I know this is hard, so before I give the answer, I'm going to point to the place where the vernier lines up. Does that help? Take a minute and check your answer and be sure it's correct. The reading is 19.16 millimeters. Okay, let's try another one. This time I won't give any hints, but I will zoom way in so you can see the calipers really well. If you get this one, you pretty much know what's going on. Pause the video and make sure you can read the whole millimeters. Did you say 12 millimeters? Okay, let's do the hard part and read the vernier scale. I'll zoom in and let you take a closer look. But first, remember the trick? See how the reading is beyond halfway between the marks? That means we need to look on the high side of the vernier scale. I'll slide the view down there and let you look. Now here we go. Pause the video and look carefully. The mark that lines up best is here. Now, what number is that? This is the 0.7 mark. So 0.72, 4, 6. The answer is 12.76. That's about all the time we have for now. Vernier calipers are hard to read, but with a little practice, I'm sure you'll be able to do it without too much trouble. I'm Bob Welds, and these are Weld Notes. Hi, I'm Bob Welds, and this is how to read a metric micrometer. A micrometer is used to take very precise measurements. There are different kinds of micrometers: inside micrometers, outside, depth micrometers, inch micrometers. Just look them up on Wikipedia. But here I have a metric one. This one measures to the nearest 0.01 millimeters. It says so right here. As you turn the knurls, the measuring parts open up. These are called the spindle and the anvil. The spindle moves, the anvil does not. Now to get down to the business of reading this thing, let's take a close look at what's called the barrel scale. I'll have Sparky, my dog, help me out. He's a pointer. You read the barrel scale by looking at the edge of the part that turns. This part's called the thimble. You begin by looking at these marks. You'll notice there are two sets of marks and a line. The marks above the line are millimeters. The marks below the line are half millimeters. Let's stop here a minute and be sure you're with me. What do you think the barrel scale is showing right now? Hit the pause button and think about it. If you said 12 millimeters, you were right. If you didn't, well, there's more to life than being right all the time. Well, let's take a closer look. See, 10, 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half, 12. Here, let's try another one. Pause the video and think about this one. Do you see it reads 14 millimeters? Good, let's move on. Let's try another one. Now this one's trickier. Pause it for a minute and see if you can figure out what the reading is. Did you say 11 and a half millimeters? See how there's a half mark showing? That counts as a half millimeter. Great. You've got the barrel scale down. Remember that we said this mic would measure down to the nearest 1/100th of a millimeter? Well, here's what that would look like on the barrel. They don't really make marks this small because no one would be able to see them to read them. Obviously, there has to be a better way. Remember that each mark on the barrel is equal to 1/2 millimeter. Another way to think of a half is by saying 0.5. Another way is by saying 0.50 or 0.50. Now, let's put 50 marks on the thimble. As we turn it, the thimble can count from 1 to 50 for us. That means that each mark on the thimble is equal to 0.01 millimeters. Now let's put all this together and try to figure out what this micrometer is reading. First, the barrel scale. 10, 11, 12. So it's 12 millimeters plus something. The something comes from the thimble scale. Let's zoom in. 0.30, 0.31, 0.32, 0.33. So the reading is 12.33 millimeters. Now here's one for you to try. Now it's trickier. Notice the half mark is showing on the barrel scale. Let's see if you can figure out what to do with that. Did you get 11.72? If so, you're really getting this. If not, you might have missed the half millimeter mark. Let me show you. Okay, first look at the barrel. 10, 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half. Now, write that down. Now, look at the thimble. 0.20, 0.21, 0.22. Now write that down. Now add them together and you get 11.72 millimeters. Okay, there's just one more small concept and we'll be done. What if one of the marks is just barely showing? Do you count it? Is it ready to be used? Here is the trick. Don't look at the mark to find out whether the mark is showing or not. Look at the thimble. You need to know if a new mark is starting or if an old mark is ending. In this example, look at how big the number on the thimble is. It's showing about 0.47 millimeters. That's a big number for the thimble. Remember, the scale only goes up to 49. Since the scale is nearing the end, it's ending, and so you don't count a mark that's barely showing. The trick is to find which side of the zero you're working on. If you're not yet to zero, it's not yet a mark. Okay, I've moved the micrometer just a little bit. Now the mark is ready to be counted because the thimble scale is starting. You see that the numbers on the thimble are small because the zero just passed by. This means that the mark is ready to be counted. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There are some micrometers that can measure even more accurately than this. They have a thing called a vernier scale on them. I can show you how to read those another time if you want. Just let me know. But for now, this should get you started. Thanks for watching. I'm Bob Welds, and these are Weld Notes.
Yang ni di antara peralatan yang diguna pakai untuk sesi amali MEN 460. Yang ni kita panggil vernier caliper dan yang ini kita panggil micrometer. Sekian, terima kasih.